Hi students, in this video let us see regarding the different conditional control statements we have in C language. Okay, so what are the conditional control statements we have? We have if statement. Under this if we have the four forms. One is the simple if, second one is the if else, third one is the else if ladder, and fourth one is the nested if. Okay, and this goto statement is called a unconditional control statement, whereas this switch statement is called a multiple branch statement. So let us see all these things one by one. In this video just we are going to see the only theory part. The examples on these topics you can find in the other videos on each topic. See here, just if you observe this diagram, you can find the difference between the four types of the if statements here. Okay, so what are the purpose of these conditional control statements, why we use these things? So if you like to execute the set of instructions based on the condition true or the false, then I can execute the instructions. Let's see a simple example here. Like just I have something lines like just I'm printing 4 lines of information here. So we know that every program execution starts from the main onwards, and the execution goes line by line in the sequential order. So when I execute this statement, these 4 instructions are executed in the sequential order without skipping any instruction. So first I get the output 1, next 2, next 3, next 4 when I run this application. Just see the output here. See, I got the instructions 1, 2, 3, 4 means the execution is in the sequential order. I cannot skip any instruction while executing it. But see, with the help of the control statements, what I do is something like I declared x equal to 10 here. So after this printing the first line, I write a condition like this: if x equal to 10. Okay, if x equal to 10, then only you execute these 2 instructions. Means whenever this condition is the true, then execute the statements which are inside this if block. Now let's see here, x value is the 10, so it prints the 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no change. But let us modify this value. Instead of the 10, I'm giving here the value is the 11. So x equal to 10, this condition is the false. Whenever it is the false, it doesn't execute these 2 instructions. So when I execute it, see my output is just only 2 lines. The first one is the 1, and next statement is this 4 will be printed. It doesn't print these 2 lines, 2 and 3. See the output here. Okay. So based on the conditions true or the false, whenever you like to execute the 1 or more instructions, we have to go for this control structure. So under this if you see that this syntax, there are 4 types. Simple if. So when I use the simple if, see here, if within the parenthesis I am writing the expression. So if this expression is the true, then you execute the statements which are inside this open brace and the closed brace. I can have one or more but 0 instructions inside this one. So whatever I write this instruction within the open brace and the closed brace, this we call it as if block. Okay, block is nothing but a group of statements enclosed within the open brace and the closed brace. So if this is the false, if condition is the false, what is happening? Execute the statement which is after this if block. Okay, then see the second one, if else. This is the first one, second one. So in the if else, if this condition is the true, it is executing the if block, whereas if this condition is the false, it is executing the else block. Okay, then in the third one, in the else if ladder. So here are the expression 1, expression 2, expression so and so on. Means when you like to check the multiple conditions here. Okay, whenever you like to check the multiple conditions here, I have to go with this else if ladder. I can write using the simple if also, but if I use the simple if multiple times, the all conditions are checked. Here how the execution executes inside the else if ladder. If this is the true, execute the statements. Okay, then after that it doesn't execute this else part, directly it comes to, after the execution of this one, it goes to the next statement. But if this condition is the false, then what happens? It goes to the second expression. Again it checks this condition. If this condition is the true, execute the statements, I go to the directly next statement. Otherwise go to the third expression. Like that, whenever the previous condition is the false, then it goes to the next condition. Okay, if I use this simple if, then every condition is evaluated. That is the difference between this simple if and the else if ladder. So every program whatever you write using the else if ladder can be written with the simple if also, but checks all the conditions. So that can be avoided with this else if ladder. So there is only one condition possible inside the simple if and if else, whereas multiple conditions can be checked inside the else if ladder. Next, nested if. If you see the syntax of the nested if, see I wrote one if inside the another if. Okay, so if and only if these expression 1, 2 are the false, then only the statements which are inside this inner if are executed. For example, if this is the first one is the true but second one is the false, what happens? It executes the outer statement. For example, if this first instruction itself is the false, then automatically it goes to the next statement. That is the nested if statement. Okay, so let's see here one example like cricket game for these 4 conditions. See, for the simple if, at a scenario, the team 1 score is something 200 runs. Okay, so if I use the simple if, how do you write the condition? If team 1 score is greater than 200, then printf, sorry, here I am writing the team 2 score. So I like to check whether the team 2 is winner or the loser. Then I write winner. Otherwise I can write if team 2 score is less than, I can write here instead of the 200 I can write team 1 score also. Okay, if team 2 score is less than 200, then loser. Okay, so instead of using the simple if, here what I am doing, I am checking these 2 conditions. These 2 conditions can be avoided with the if else statements. So in the if else statement, whatever I do, I write this statement. Instead of writing this condition, here I keep else part. Okay, so that is the use of the So I can avoid the checking the one more condition here, this one, using the if else statement. Okay. Next, nested if, else if ladder. Let us assume based on the run rate of the team, I would like to decide the its position. Okay. For example, if run rate is greater than or equal to 10, then position is 1. Okay. Else, if run rate is greater than or equal to 5 and run rate is less than 10, then I am writing position is 2. Next, else if run rate is less than 5, I am writing this position is 3. Just take a scenario. So here I have the multiple conditions. One condition is run rate is greater than 10, second condition is greater between the 5 and the 10, third condition is the run rate is less than 10. So in this scenario, I use this else if ladder. You can write using the simple if also by eliminating this else part. But what happens, it checks all these conditions. To avoid the multiple conditions checking again, I can go with the else if ladder. Okay. Next, nested if. So in the nested if, what I do is, for example, so based on the run rate and as well as the team score, I would like to decide the match win, whether the team is eligible to the final match or not. So first thing is the team score, team to score should be greater than 200. This is the first condition to win the match, win that match. Let us assume the team 1 score is the 200 runs. Okay. Then another condition is if run rate is greater than or equal to 10. Okay. Then only eligible to final. Okay. Else not eligible. Okay. So whenever this condition is the true, both the conditions are true here. This condition, then only they are eligible to enter into the final match. Otherwise, they are the winner of the match, but they are not eligible to enter into the final. Okay. So like this, I can use the nested if statement. So one condition here depended on the another condition. Okay. So let's see the few more points here. Same the same. So quickly go through these points. Here, if and the else are the keywords in the C. Okay. Whenever there is only one condition, I use simple if. And when I am writing the 1 point, remember students here that there should not be any statements between the if and the else blocks. So when you have the multiple conditions, I need to go with the else if ladder. Nested if. One if inside the another if. Next, one more statement here, unconditional control statement. Goto is called an unconditional control statement. Why? Because how we use it, goto is the keyword, space label name. Then wherever you write to that label, it goes to the particular statement and execute the particular operation. So generally for the most of the compiler, this label should not be the last statement in the function. Next, multiple branch statement. Switch is called a multiple branch statement. This is the alternative to the else if ladder. So when they have the multiple conditions like a menu type of the program we required, in that case you use this switch statement. Okay, so this switch is the runs faster than the if statement. So whenever I have the multiple choices, from that one I can select the only one option using this switch statement. Like here the syntax here is switch integer expression open brace, and this is closed by close brace at the end here. See here I have the close brace, and inside the switch I have the n number of the cases, and here this switch and the case and the break, these all are keywords. Okay, so this integer expression is compared with this case corresponding case value. Whenever these are matches, then the statements here will be executed. Okay, after this I have the break keyword. What happens, this break will terminate the switch statement and come out of the switch, and when none of these case values doesn't matches, then I have a default statement here. Default is also a keyword. When none of the matches case values matches, then default executes, and this default and the break are keywords in the keywords, and these are optional inside the switch statement. Okay, and remember that these following points for the switch statements while working with the switch. So that expression must be integer, case value must be integer or a character, but should not be a float than the string inside the C. Duplicate case values are not allowed, accepted. So if I don't use the break statement, doesn't show any error, but what happens is the remaining next immediate case values also will be executed. And I can write the default not only at the end, at the beginning, in the middle also I can write it. Okay, so case value can be you can write it as a boolean also, something case A greater than B. So this break keyword also can be used inside the loops also. See here, these are the few valid if statements. Like I have written that in the syntax expression. So 2 plus 4, this is the integer expression. Not only the A greater than B, A less than B conditional expression, I can write the integer expression also. So all these are valid. I can keep semicolon at the end of the if also. I can write if 1, 2 like this also. Negative value or null character or array value. I can use the condition. If of 0, not 0, I can call a function also inside the if. I can specify the string also inside the if. If of null is also valid. Pointer I can use. So all these are the valid statements inside the if. And we can write the nested switch statement also in the C. See here, this switch is included inside this switch here. And see, there are the few valid switch statements like 1, A plus B, A greater than B. And when I'm writing the case negative value expression, you can write, but should always return the here integer expression. Character you can write, you can convert the float into the integer type like this. It's all valid. Okay, case 1 equal on boolean expression also you can write it, arithmetic expression. See, I cannot write like this, case A plus 1. So case 1 plus 2, these are the constants, it's valid. but variable I cannot write it here. Okay, invalid. So float value is not acceptable, string is not acceptable, just variable is not acceptable, and you cannot write the expo. This mantis expressions also you cannot write it. This one like this, null is also not valid, backslash 0 is not valid. Okay. So the other points we should remember while working with the control statements.